What is going on? Welcome back to the huddle. We're about to get in, take a look at the trades for round 12, have a look at the team set up. Thanks to those of you. There's a couple of questions from Twitter. So if you haven't already, make sure you follow me on Twitter. But before we get into that, let's see how the team went in round 11. It was nice to see another solid score, 1,246 points despite Cleary, who went massive the week before, 51 points. There again, the big discussion was Teddy versus Cleary, and it was only 2 points difference in the end, or 4 if you did captain them. But we've seen a green arrow. We've moved up around 2,350 places and now sit just outside the top 15k. So it was a bit of a goal last round to make the top 15k and hopefully work our way down soon towards the top 10k. But we'll see how we go. Hopefully we can get another few players going big this round. So without making any trades, here's my team at the moment. There's a question about Madison that we'll address soon. Again, in my centers, I played Fidel the Hammer last week, 43 points. Talau did make 55. Chopping and changing there, it's hard to know who's going to do well. Avarillo actually came through with the goods. So did Kennedy. And this week I'm thinking of playing Kennedy, but maybe Talau against the Warriors could be on this round, as Best is coming up against the Storm. So at the moment, I am thinking about maybe trading one of these guys out, but at the moment I'm gonna slot Talau in there. Best coming up against the Storm. Gonna bench him probably this round. But what I'm thinking of doing, I'm thinking of bringing in Talau's teammate, Nofaluma. Now to do that, I would need to free up some cash, as I've only got just under 8k, and I'm thinking of getting rid of Avarillo. Now Avarillo has a higher break even than Talau, and I think Talau has a few nice fixtures coming up compared to Avarillo. So at the moment, I'm thinking of trading out Avarillo. And the plan is to bring in Nofaluma. But as you can see, there a significant amount of cash short. So I'm actually thinking about saying goodbye to Luai. Now, Luai has performed probably better than I expected. I thought he might have just been riding the pine a bit more, but he's actually contributed quite nicely. So I'm thinking of getting rid of Luai there. And then just getting in an absolute cheapie there, like 192.6, not too much to work with. So if we go lowest price, let me know in the comments section. I know Tyson Gamble played, but I don't think he's even named this week. So just for now, because he's dual 5'8" hooker there, all the others are just straight 5'8", other than Tyson. But let's just chuck Kobe Hetherington in just for now. So let me save that. But what I want to talk about is captain, vice captain. Again though, I will make these trades as late as possible when we do get the confirmed team list. So here again, the question mark is, well, Nofaluma is definitely coming in. Do I want to play Nofo and Talau against the Warriors, or do I want to play maybe it's worth going Kennedy coming up against the Broncos? So just for now, I'm going to sub out Talau, keep Kennedy in there as a fullback, and obviously we're going to get the reserve of Hetherington. So let's have a look at this. We're playing Smith, Maddo, and at the moment I might go Katoa, or maybe it's worth running with Talau, Tommy Talau. So we might end up playing him anyway. So that's a bit of a lineup at the moment, and currently I think it's going to be a super popular combo this week. Vice captain for me is going to be on SJ coming up against the Broncos. But Captain Teddy against the Titans, I think he's going to be super popular. He did get 53 last week, but coming up against the Titans there, you do expect big things from Teddy. So SJ would have to go absolutely enormous for enough to happen. But I think all my other players all would have been locked out, so I might not even be able to exercise the loophole there. So I just like the look of that SJVC at the moment. But another option though to take advantage of the loophole might be VC Nofaluma coming up against the Warriors, and that way I could bring in Hetherington as enough, captain him and activate the loophole. But with Teddy coming up there against the Titans, you know, the loophole can sometimes backfire. So it would have to be an enormous VC for me to not go Teddy captain. So a shout out here to the Crimson Chin. And Dan, thanks for your questions. It says, how are you going to manage the risk of Madison possibly being a late out? And the best option at 5'8", Munster Johnston, or is it worth going after Cleary at half instead? So I'll address this one. Madison could be a possible out, and if that happens to me here, let's say he's on the bench anyway because he's playing late, and that's super annoying. As a late out, if he's gone and I take the reserve off him, I've either got another Eels player, which I don't have, Bulldogs, or for me, I'm going to be forced to play best. So it's not the worst, but for me, if Madison loses his bench spot, the only option is another Storm or Knights player. As you can see, they're playing after Parramatta. So for me, if Madison's a late out, if I had a trade, if you're trading, maybe, but really from Para, Dogs, Melbourne and Newcastle, there's no, genuine keeper, who I think might be worth bringing in to, I don't think it's worth forcing a trade. If you think he's going to be out and you're wanting to trade Madison out, trade him sooner than later, where you can get someone in maybe like a Tamalolo, McInnes, someone who's playing early, but you'd be confident with that trade. So for me though, I'm going to probably use my 2 trades for Noffo and like a Hetherington enough. And then if Madison's not named, I'll be forced to play best. So if you're in this situation, either think about getting rid of Madison, you never know, we might get some early mail. Otherwise, if you're gonna risk it, just make sure that you can sub to someone else. Otherwise, you're just gonna cop your lowest player, your AE, auto emergency. Hopefully it's not an AE nightmare. So looking at Dan's question there, best option at 5'8", Munster or Johnston, or is it just worth going after Cleary at half instead? So just looking at those 3, hopefully you can get maybe 2 out of those 3. But if you're only going to get 1, it's pretty hard to go past Cleary. He's the goal kicker. He's the main man there. The ball is in his hand so often for the Panthers. And we saw it a couple of weeks ago. The last play, he just scored a try, a bit of junk points. But you can get points all the way up to the 80th minute with him. So for me, if you haven't got Cleary, I'd go for him. If you're looking for more of a pod though, because Cleary has 31% ownership, Munster's at 15 and SJ, Sean Johnson's at 23. So if you're wanting to go in a bit of a different direction and avoid the 31% owned Cleary, then maybe do have a look at Munster and Johnston. I might be a bit biased because I've had SJ and he's just been going massive for me. So it has been great, but let's have a look. SJ's 3 and 5 round averages, 90 and 86 compared to Munster's 74 and 75. Now Munster did have a couple of rounds off and then he's just come back again. Come back solid. He has the Knights, he has the Dogs. So a couple of really nice fixtures until the Roosters. SJ on the other hand, he has this 119. So we know SJ is known as the roller coaster. He can go so big, so high. There's a lot of variation in his score. So looking at here, 38% variation. If it's getting up, that just means he's really inconsistent. And for SJ to be at 38% is quite good. Like last season, over the whole season, 45, it was 39, 42. And a 38%, it's still above the 20%. If you look at some front rowers there who are just consistently grinding you out solid points every single week, they'll have a low CV, a low coefficient of variance. But for SJ, he's got these big scores. Earlier in the season, he had those 2 lots of 20. And so from 120 to 20, that's huge variation. That's why these playmakers, these backs have bigger coefficient of variance there. But SJ does have the Broncos coming up, which, the Broncos haven't been great lately. They've been, changing the positions up a little bit. So they're still trying to work things out. You never know though, they might turn it on for a little bit. Eels, they can turn it on a little bit too. A nice one in the Titans. And then, it's a bit on and off for the Sharks all the way to the end. So for me, again, if you want the differential, go for the lower owned Munster. I just like that SJ is the goal kicker. He does have a little bit high ownership, but it might just be a coin flip for you. So if you haven't got Cleary and you don't mind joining 30% of the other super coaches, I'd recommend getting on him. With the other 2, I'd lean towards SJ a bit more, but again, I might be a little bit biased because I've had him in my team. Munster though, with the lower ownership, a bit more of a pod, but again, beautiful games coming up there. He could go massive in those. But that's my opinion. Make sure if you're watching, get down in the comments section. Who would you go for if you didn't have either? Munster, SJ, or would you prioritize getting Cleary in your team? So that's the team for round 11. I know some of you might have Smith on here first, but Grant's playing the second game of the round. So get him in there, because imagine if Smith gets injured and he's sitting in here. You can't get him out. So arrange your team nicely there. So just speaking of rearranging your team here, the Warriors are playing before the Cows. So I would switch that up if I'm set on playing Katoa. If Madison's not named, I will jump down and play best. Not ideal, but it does help bring Noffaluma in. I might end up going for a couple of cheapies. There's the likes of Jackson Paulo and that out there, maybe to free up some cash. Twal from the Tigers is also an interesting one who I might look to upgrade Katoa to soon. But get down in the comments section. Let me know who's your captain, vice captain. Let me know what you think of these trades, these team lineups. Let me know what your Madison plan is, and let me know if you can see a better Madison plan for me if he is not playing, if he's a late out. But thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video. It really helps out, and I'll see you in the next one.